What's up guys, today I'm going to create stop motion for the first time in my life. Now for those of you who don't know what stop motion is, it's basically the basics of animation. Let's say you take a picture of a ball, then you take another picture but this time you move the ball a bit forward, and then you repeat this process a few times and eventually you combine all the photos into one video. And then it creates some sort of animation. This is stop motion. So at the beginning I drew a standing character and I drew its shadow. Then I took a picture of it and I drew it again, but this time I moved the shadow a bit to the side. And then I did it again and again and again and again and again. And every time I made sure to take a picture of it, otherwise, well, I would have to start everything from the beginning, and that's not going to happen. Eventually, I ended up with this short animation. Now, it's not something crazy and it's only the beginning, but it looks dope. And the end result is indeed going to be very cool, so make sure to watch until the end. If you have a sharp eye, you probably understood that the idea of this stop motion is that someone's shadow took the shape of a human and started fighting with the real person. And if you have some understanding in martial arts, you probably understood that I took the idea from shadow boxing, when a person fights his own shadow. And that's not a metaphor. Well, it is, but it sounds much cooler to say that you actually fight your shadow. Now, as you can see, I stretched the shadow character's arm in an unrealistic way, but when I put it all together, it makes sense and make the punch look much more dramatic. And as you can see, the other character dodged the attack and replied with a counter punch. This video is actually only an introduction for the next video in which I'll create a real animation on my tablet, so make sure to subscribe so you won't miss it. Now let me explain what's the main difference between creating stop motion and creating animation. When you create animation on a tablet, you can always go back and watch the animation, and you can erase and remake frames. And in stop motion, or at least in the way I make it, I cannot go back and change what I already did, and I cannot even watch the stop motion until I upload it to the computer and combine all the photos. Now, it might be because I'm just doing it in a very inefficient way, but it makes it much more challenging for me. Now, as I said, in the next video I'll create real animation, but it might be much more than just one video. Animation is something I always wanted to make, and I might start making animation much more frequently. Now here, when I was very close to finish the stop motion, I was pretty lazy and I just rushed to finish it. And I must say that I messed up a little bit, which is pretty dumb considering the fact that if I would just give it 15 more minutes, it would look much better. But now, let's take a look at the final result. Now, I know, it is pretty basic and I have a lot to improve, but it is super cool. So I decided that in the next video, not only that I'll create a real animation, I'll create something much more complex and epic. So make sure to stick around.